Hey everybody, welcome back, it's Business, and this is the 100th video that I've uploaded for World of Warships, so yay, new milestone. Inching away closer and closer to the 5,000 subscriber mark for YouTube, and I think I'm right at 1,100 followers on Twitch, which is awesome. Speaking of Twitch, real fast, I want to point out Kami will be having a stream on Tuesday, the 21st. Big giveaway stream because he hit the 1,500 follower mark on Twitch, so I'll just drop that link in the description and feel free to check him out on Tuesday and any other time really. But yeah, this is a match I've had for a little while now. So this is Rock and Rolla in the Farragut, and that is a stock Minakaze. I think he's got like 9,600 HP or 9,800, something like that. And this poor guy walked right into the lion's den here. So at the start of the match, Rock'n'Rolla was trying to get the Cleveland to join him at B, which that sounds like a great idea, but in all reality, it's not going to happen unless the Cleveland wants to get focused from like 7 different angles and knocked out. I understand what he was talking about though, just to most likely clear out the destroyers here. So he gets the first blood against the Minakaze, and there's an enemy Furitaka. Looks like he's going to be closing in here, so there's a bit of action that's going to happen here pretty quickly. But I want to mention that something I've been seeing way too much of lately on Straight is the northern team meeting up with the southern team or vice versa, and I gotta say, please stop that. It almost never works, and the issue with it is that especially on 3 cap domination, you need to contest the cap points. If you're not going to be able to cap them, then you need to stay in that area and make sure that the enemy can't cap them. And today, actually, I think it was in Minakaze, we were able to fight off a superior force despite starting in the south, only having 4 ships, including myself. And oh, actually, I'm sorry, it was the north. And we only had 4 ships, and we were able to stop them from capping A up top, like over and over and over again. And they made a number of different mistakes, and we all worked together pretty damn well and made something happen. And while that was happening, the enemy team was moving north on those islands there, what's that, the 8 line, and they were getting trapped the whole time. It was a slaughter, and they had no chance of being involved in that match because of the fact that they decided to say, screw it, let's move north, and let's move south, and they were never really involved in the match. And I'm just telling you guys, if you're relatively new, or if you think that something like that works, just trust me, stop doing it. Defend your cap that you spawn next to, and try to control the middle on this map. It makes a world of difference. And even if you are outgunned in your respective spawn area, you can find a way to make it work. I can guarantee you that. It's just a matter of luck and whether or not you get knocked out, and so on and so forth. But so that Minakaze, or I'm sorry, the Mitsuki, there was a Mitsuki. They all look the damn same. The Mitsuki here lost his engines. I'm guessing he actually just left the damn game because nope, actually he just repaired and started moving forward, but obviously far too little, way too late. And so he's racked up kills against a Furitaka, let's see, the Mitsuki, as well as the Minakaze, and now he's going after an Ognivoy who already has a few kills to his name as well. Now, it seemed like when I was watching this match, like every which way he looked, there was a new enemy shooting at him. So for him to be in the position that he's in, at least at this point already, where his team has a decent lead, and a number of their destroyers are knocked out, when he's going toe-to-toe against this enemy Ognivoy, he's doing a pretty damn good job. He's keeping his team in it, of course, but he's actually been doing a pretty good job of maintaining his health pool. I mean, he did lose about 7,000 HP against that Ognivoy, but gunboat versus gunboat, you want at least one other ship to back you up, and try to make it as lopsided as possible. And so naturally, when he finishes off the Ognivoy, Minakaze shows up just to his south, and he lands a few hits on him, takes him down by about, what, like 3,100, 3,200 HP. But unfortunately, there's a New York over here, and he's only got one torp rack available. Now, he can't really hang around here for another 10 seconds to wait for that other torp rack to be reloaded, so he just dumps that one and decides to push back south, and he's switching AP because he sees an Omaha over here, and the Omaha is distracted. So he's got the side here, and he gets 3 torp hits and Confederate at the same time on the New York, and he starts unloading with now high caliber with the AP on the side of the Omaha here and starts getting the Citadels. So as you can see there, another 3 Citadels, not bad at all, and boom, there's the Kraken. This is such a fantastic example of a gunboat like being in the position to just push people around and like really like take it to the enemy. And an aggressive gunboat is one of the most wonderful things for me to watch and play, of course, in the game. I think it's just fantastic. It's highly enjoyable, but he manages to get another torp hit there too, just for some good measure. Now check this out. 133,000 damage, right? All the awards you can imagine, 655,000 credits, 9,000 XP, almost 4,000 base XP. That is fucking awesome. That is how you play a damn Farragut. So hats off to you, Rock and Roller. That was awesome. So let's switch up to Captain Vancouver in the Zao, which is of course not a ship you see very much on this channel. I just don't find it that interesting to play, but he made this seem really interesting actually, so we'll get to that in a moment, of course, as this unfolds. But he is trying to maintain Invisifire range, and obviously this is a bit of an old clip. It is, let me see, yeah, I recorded it April 19th. Don't ask, please. I just sometimes I sit on a lot of files. I think I have 213 files in my World of Warships shadow play folder, so yeah, I've got a few. Takes a while to get to them, guys. But anyways, Captain Vancouver's shells are falling a bit too far behind. He needs to adjust his aim a little bit more, and unfortunately he's not doing the damage he could be doing against the side of this Montana. And what I want you to pay attention to here is, one, there's 4 ships ahead of him, right? The Ibuki, the Zao, the New Orleans, and the Montana. And watch how this develops, and pay attention to the fact that Captain Vancouver doesn't really have any teammates left by this point. And pay attention to how the Montana behaves, because, you know, I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it until people stop bitching about the tiers and skill and all that stuff. There's no correlation between tier and skill, and this is a fantastic example of it. And at the same time, you have other players who are trying to do some work here. I mean, there's torps from the Ibuki, AP from the Zao. These guys are paying attention, and they're trying to take down Captain Vancouver here. Nice dodge there. Very confident, too. I like that. He does almost 9,000 to the side of the Montana there with his AP, and the New Orleans is getting into the action as well. Now, there's some more shells coming in, and from the Ibuki, when he switches over to his starboard side torps and launches a widespread there, he obviously only needs to really connect with one, but he manages to get 2 on the Montana and takes him out. Now check this out. He's lining up his shot on the New Orleans, got the AP going there, and that's a double strike. At, like, he doesn't need a 10 seconds. He's got both of those guys at the same exact time. So beautifully coordinated there. And now there's the Zao to deal with, who has about 25,000 health, but he starts taking some damage. Maybe he could have gotten out of this a little bit if he didn't turn to get his rear turrets involved, but still one hell of a sequence of events there, and he gets Witherer right at the end, of course. So he may have lost the fight, but he's going down swinging. In some situations, that's pretty much all you can ask for, right? Now switching over to Sad Boys 2001 in the Mogami with the 155s. Now this is something I have not bothered to talk about, and I didn't really have much success with the Mogami after they had basically nerfed it over and over and over again. I mean, if you want to talk about a ship that's been through some hell, you talk about the Mogami. And you know, this used to be tier 7, now it's tier 8, used to have a higher fire chance, used to have better turret traverse, so on and so forth. This ship has been beat to hell and back by the balancing team. But the funny part is, it's still dangerous, because, you know, when it comes to video games, there are certain staples that exist, and high volume of fire and high fire rate is always one that it has been part of it. It's a pain in the ass to balance, and I don't think you have to look any further than first-person shooters to verify that. I mean, look at the, yeah, like the P90 in any video game. it's always ridiculously fun to use and or easy to use, and pretty much overshadows the majority of other weapons that you can use in its place. You know, I mean, the P90, I mean, legendary weapon for first-person shooters, right? So he did land a torped there on the Mogami, which I gotta say, I mean, you really just don't see this ship anymore. Which is a shame, because of course the meta has shifted, the balance has shifted, so on and so forth. I understand that, but at the same time, if you have one of these guys in your corner and he's well positioned, like, you know, if you've got a division and somebody smokes him up and, you know, he's able to have somebody else spot for him outside of that smoke, wow, the amount of firepower that this thing can put down and, like, fires that it can start. I mean, I think I posted that in the Mogami review that I had way back in the day, where I had like 9,000 damage salvos like pretty consistently on an enemy Colorado while starting fires and stuff, and within, you know, 30 seconds he'd lost more than half of his health or something. And if there's two things the Mogami will always do really well, simply because of the fact that it has a lot of shells and the HE is still really, really powerful, and that's annihilate destroyers at close range. I mean, you have 15 shells in the air. I mean, think about that. 15 HE shells along the side of an enemy destroyer is absolutely terrifying. And even if you're a battleship, I mean, I don't care if this ship turns like a pig now, if the turrets are slower than molasses, if it's super easy to citadel. Even as a battleship, you do not want the ship shooting at you under any circumstance. It's just, it's a dangerous situation for a Yamato, let alone a Fuso, or in this case a New Mexico. And I mean, look at that, it still has really good dispersion too. So 5100 HE damage there, and that was only a few of his turrets firing. So consider that HE shells have diminishing returns as well, and this guy's still taking 7300 damage on the full salvo. I mean, this ship is fucking nasty, just nasty. And I do not recommend the 203s, and the reason why is because I think the Atago does the 203s far better than the Mogami does. The Mogami's niche has and always will be the 155s, and I've seen some people say, oh, but it's, you know, historically accurate. Who gives a shit? It's a game, you know? I mean, you know, try to be the most effective you can be, and if you're going to be effective in this ship, I think the best way to do it is with the 155s, because I've said it before and I'll say it again, window of opportunity is always more important than having a heavier punch. So by that, I mean there's hardly any damage difference between the 155s and the 203s. In reality, like in actual practice, there's very little difference in the damage results on a per shell basis. But when you're looking at how often you're able to shoot, even though it's only, you know, but it's 10 seconds on the 155s for the reload versus 15 seconds on the 203s. I mean, just look at that over the course of a minute. That's 6 opportunities to fire versus 4. That's 6 opportunities if a destroyer is coming in and out of concealment versus just 4. And it's not that much of a difference in the practical damage. So again, it's more about just dumping the shells, and actually, because of the fact that you get more shells with the 155s, you're actually almost guaranteed to do more damage overall. You know, and that's just how this game works, you know, with fire chance and everything else. I highly recommend, if you're about to go to the Mogami or you want to go back to it and just try it out, if you were focusing on the 203s for the most part, switch over to the 155s and just mess around with Oh, actually, that's right. We have the new modules coming up in 5.7. By the way, that's why I'm not doing the ship review on anything until 5.7 drops and I can get a handle on these new modules. By the way, I'm just holding back on that because things are probably going to change a fair bit. And the patch was delayed a little bit, so yeah, oh well. But what you're seeing here, though, as Sad Boys takes some meaty little damage there, is that the Warspite is basically a Viking funeral. Which, now that I say that, would be a great title for a video, yeah? Anyways. This thing just takes HE damage every which way, and AP damage too. I guarantee if Sad Boy switched over to AP here, he'd be doing probably the same amount of damage, because it's a glutton for punishment, and he's aiming right into the superstructure, doing a considerable amount of damage. And that's the weird thing is, there are certain ships that don't seem to have a diminishing return value as far as like taking HE damage. The Warspite is definitely one of those. So, you know, HE is supposed to get weaker over time, you know, just as the modules get saturated with damage and areas get saturated with damage. But that just doesn't seem to be the case. So he did end up with the Kraken in the losing effort, so he did a fine job there, though, of engaging the enemies and showing what the Mogami can still do. But let's switch over to Chibster in his first match in the Tier 8 Russian cruiser, the Chapayev. Now, Chibster, in my opinion, is a hell of a player. Like, I love watching his replays because there's always some crazy shit that happens, right? Well, yeah, this one's no different. He's facing off against the Nuremberg here, which is really no match for the power that the Chapayev has, and Triple Citadel there. Basically, the Kirov, I really dislike. The Budioni is solid, possibly overpowered. The Shores is pretty much the same, but it has even more offensive capability. I just have a really hard time with ships that aren't maneuverable, and for me, I have a waning interest in the Russian cruisers simply because of the fact that they get bigger and they get slower in terms of their turning, and I do plan on playing through them eventually, but at this point I think I'm going to probably focus more on the German line, but I will try to get caught up with the reviews there eventually. Probably by August, I would like to be up to the Chapayev in terms of the reviews, so have the Kirov, the Budioni, and also the Shores, you know, said and done, have that squared away. But he's doing some damage here, man. And this is what I come to expect when I watch his replays. He's got the fires going when he needs them to be going. He's got the AP railing away at these guys and hitting their citadels. You know, he's always engaging targets, and right now he's got a couple problems right in front of him in the form of a few destroyers. But typically when I watch him, I know he's going to be able to pull something off here. Now, he's already taken out a Ranger, and now he adds a York to the list as well, and clearly this enemy Pensacola is really not in the best of spots here to be able to contend against him. Now he does get hit by some of the Rangers bombers though, and gets a double fire, and that's going to burn for a moment here as he's waiting for his repair to come back online. And he's got another fire going here on the Pensacola, and does a good job predicting there to finish off that guy. Now, there's unfortunately a Fubuki right in front of him. That's usually not a good sign, but the thing is, when you have a ship like this, or like the Mogami, the Shores especially, you know, these types of ships that have, you know, 4 or more turrets, they can just absolutely shred the hell out of enemy destroyers when they're showing their broadside. And this Fubuki is just taking catastrophic damage. So, I mean, there's got to be practically nothing left on the ship that's functioning, but there's the 4th kill for Chibster, and pay attention to something here as the Benson shows up. See those torps? Important factor right here. And another part of this that's pretty interesting is that the Benson, despite having Chibster at a serious disadvantage with his side fully exposed, is still only shooting HE. And considering that Chibster's such low health right now, you know, shooting AP there probably would have worked out a lot better for the Benson. And the funny part is, too, see where the shells are coming in there? He'll have a fire here right on the bow of the ship as well. The guy's shooting right up at the front end instead of into the superstructure. So he's not doing shit for damage, while he's taken quite a bit as well. But Chipster's not able to finish him off, despite the advantage that he has with the guns on him and everything. He just can't seem to finish this guy off. Now, I want you to take a look at the minimap. See the green dive bombers behind Chipster? That's going to be important here. So this guy's coming in for a suicide run, possibly a ram, and unfortunately Chipster missed that shot there. So freaking close. And here come the dive bombers. Holy shit. Oh man, that carrier was just watching and waiting for that to happen, but the timing couldn't have been any better. So that guy must have had torps ready to go at any moment, and or maybe just the ram, which certainly would have killed Chipster as well. But wow, what a nice little finish there. And to wrap things up today, this one's gonna be burned into a few of your memories. So this is Citizen Soldier, and I gotta say, this is the sneakiest Des Moines play I've ever seen, and it's really because of the fact that he's overextended, but the enemy doesn't know he's here. And that's a Moskva rolling up from just a few kilometers away, and Citizen has his turrets ready to go here, and here's the show. So we got a triple Citadel for about 13,000, or actually about 18,000 damage there, and there's a septuple for another 35,000. Holy shit. I mean, granted, he took a lot of damage. I mean, if you're in the position to be able to do something like that, typically at this tier, you're able to take a lot of damage as well. So the fact that he even lived through that in the first place is pretty amazing, but that was a shitload of damage in a very, very short period of time. So how do you follow something like that up? Well, despite being detected and having a teammate die right next to you, well, an Ibuki's just gonna charge in and pretty much do the same damn thing. This shit amazes me. Now, he aims a bit too far behind, but he does get one Citadel. Certainly not the punch he was hoping to deliver, but there's another 3, and that damage racks up very quickly on the ship, so there's another 2. And of course, the Ibuki was not prepared for this at all, despite knowing that he was there, and he had HE loaded instead of AP, which could very well have knocked him out, or at least put him in a position to not be able to do even more damage. So what's an Admiral Hipper to do after seeing his 2 teammates get wrecked by Des Moines AP? Well, I mean, go broadside, of course. I mean, I can't make this shit up. This is insane to me. I mean, all he had to do was, push forward with his bow forward to get closer to launch some torps or something, but nope, he's got to go broadside, and he pays the price on that and gets taken out. So that's another about 22,000 damage for a Citizen. But now Big Daddy Des Moines is coming in to finish him off, and 2 problems here. 1, he's got his 3rd turret in the action, which means that he's not angled nearly enough. He should be pretty much straight onto this guy, and that first salvo, he left so much damage on the table by not leading him properly. So unfortunately he gets taken out there, but ends up doing about 130,000 damage and 19 Citadels in just a few minutes. So hell of a way to finish off the Cruiser edition of user replays. Alright, so after I get back from Boston, which should be July 5th, I do expect that at some point shortly thereafter I should be doing the big giveaway for the various milestones of 5,000 subscribers for YouTube and my various milestones on Twitch as far as 1,000 followers and now 1,100. And yeah, hopefully that'll all go very well, but be sure to remember Kami's stream on the 21st for his 1,500 follower mark. And again, thank you guys for the support. I appreciate it. 100 World of Warships videos. Hopefully there's a lot more to come, but I will see you back here soon. Take care.